Negotiable Instruments Law, Act Number 2031, February 3, 1911. Today we discuss negotiation, sections 30 to 50. Negotiation, section 30, what constitutes negotiation? An instrument is negotiated when it is transferred from one person to another in such manner as to constitute the transferee the holder thereof. If payable to bearer, it is negotiated by delivery. If payable to order, it is negotiated by the endorsement of the holder and completed by delivery. I placed here a sample of a promissory note. It says, I promise to pay to the order of P 5,000, signed maker. The transfer from the maker to the payee is not negotiation. It is issuance. Negotiation is a post-issuance transfer. So the transfer from the maker or from the drawer to the payee is issuance. Then the transfer from the payee to the Indorsee is what is called negotiation. So it says here, payable to bearer, mere delivery, hindi mo kailangan pumirma if the instrument is payable to bearer. But if it is payable to order, then it is negotiated by the endorsement of the holder, pipirma siya, and completed by delivery. Section 31, Endorsement, how made. The endorsement must be written on the instrument itself or upon a paper attached thereto. The signature of the endorser without additional words is a sufficient endorsement. The word endorse, sometimes spelled with letter E, literally means on the back of. Diba yung isda mayroong palikpik sa likod? Ang tawag doon ay dorsal fins. Doon ang galing ang word na endorse, dorsal. Kasi usually, ang endorsement ay isinusulat sa likod ng instrument. Pero, hindi naman kailangan sa likod. Pwede naman sa harap, sa taas, sa baba, sa margins, sa likod, anywhere on the instrument. Pero kung wala ng space para sa additional endorsements, wala nang mapirmahan yung endorser, pwede siyang gumamit ng isang separate piece of paper, doon niya ilagay ang endorsement, doon siya pumirma, at i-attach niya sa instrument. Ang tawag doon sa papel na yon ay allonge. That is the separate piece of paper that is attached to the instrument containing additional endorsements. I think it's a French word, allonge. So, we learn from here that endorsement can be on the instrument itself or on a separate piece of paper. And then the second sentence, the signature of the endorser without additional words is a sufficient endorsement. So, we learned from previous lessons that a mere signature of the endorser constitutes as a blank endorsement. So, pwede na siyang i-endorse kahit na hindi niya inilagay ang Indorsee, that is a sufficient endorsement. Section 32, endorsement must be of entire instrument. The endorsement must be an endorsement of the entire instrument. An endorsement which purports to transfer to the Indorsee a part only of the amount payable, or which purports to transfer the instrument to two or more Indorsees severally, does not operate as a negotiation of the instrument. But where the instrument has been paid in part, it may be endorsed as to the residue. So, I place here a sample of a promissory note. I promise to pay to the order of B 10,000, signed M, maker. Then, P makes a partial endorsement in favor of A for only half the amount, 5,000 lang. Sabi niya, pay to the order of A, 5,000 and retain the rest. Ibig sabihin, out of the 10,000, 5,000 lang ang tinatransfer niya kay A. Sabi dito, it's not a valid endorsement because it is partial endorsement. Ang isa pang example ng partial endorsement ay when it is transferred to two or more endorsees. Itong pangalawang sample, pay to the order of A, 5,000 and to be another 5,000, signed P. Therefore, yung 10,000 gusto niyang hatiin. 5,000 kay A and 5,000 kay B. Again, that is a partial endorsement and therefore it is not a valid endorsement because it is not an endorsement of the entire amount. So these are invalid endorsements. However, sabi sa last sentence, but where the instrument has been paid in part, it may be endorsed as to the residue. So pwede naman kasing binayaran na ni acceptor yung kalahati at tinanggap naman ni payee. So pinaresent niya yung negotiable instrument in the amount of 10,000. Sabi na acceptor, bayaran muna kita ng kalahati, 5,000 muna. Kasi wala pa akong pera. Therefore, bayad na yung 5. Tinanggap naman ni payee yung 5,000. Therefore, the payee or the holder can endorse it as to the residue, yung balancing 5,000. That will be valid. Dahil bayad na yung first 5,000, ang ini-endorse niya na lang yung balancing 5,000. So that's Section 32. The endorsement must be of the entire instrument. Section 33, kinds of endorsement. An endorsement may be either special or in blank, and it may also be either restrictive or qualified or conditional. So actually, sa Section 33, parang 4 lang ang na-mention. Special, blank, restrictive or qualified, and conditional. But actually, ito yung mga types of endorsement. Nilagay ko na dito sa frame na to. Special, under Section 34, blank, also 34, partial, 32, conditional, 39, restrictive, 36, qualified, 38, joint. Ang joint, may mga references tayo, sections 41, 78, 100, 128. Anomalous or irregular, section 64, general, 66, and facultative. Ang reference natin sa facultative, 109, 110, and 111. We will discuss all of this shortly. Itong na-mention na natin, itong partial sa 32. Sinabi natin na yung partial endorsement ay hindi valid under section 32. The others we will discuss shortly. Section 35, blank endorsement, how changed to special endorsement. The holder may convert a blank endorsement into a special endorsement by writing over the signature of the endorser in blank any contract consistent with the character of the endorsement. So I placed here some illustrations. So, for example, a maker, M, issues a promissory note payable to the order of P. P is the payee. And P endorses it in blank to A. So, sabi sa Section 9, Paragraph E, where an instrument originally payable to order is endorsed in blank, where the only endorsement or the last endorsement is an endorsement in blank, the instrument is converted into a bearer instrument. So A here, the holder, the transferee in blank, has two choices, either to negotiate it by mere delivery or to negotiate it by way of an endorsement. So A decides to negotiate it by way of endorsement. So, ang pwede niyang gawin, dito sa lower left-hand corner, ito yung blank endorsement ni P in favor of A. In other words, blank endorsement, hindi niya sinabi na pay to the order of A. Hindi niya sinabi, blank lang, pumirma lang si P. Ngayon, nung nasa kamay na ni A, at gusto niyang ilipat kay B, gusto niyang i-endorse further kay B, pwede siyang gumawa ng special endorsement, sulatan niya na lang yung ibabaw ng pirma ni P. Sulatan niya ng pay to the order of B, 10,000. So, nawala siya sa picture kasi from P, nalipat kaagad kay B. Hindi na lumabas ang kanyang pangalan. So, this is the way to change a blank endorsement to a special endorsement. Section 36, when endorsement, restrictive. An endorsement is restrictive which either A, prohibits the further negotiation of the instrument, or B, constitutes the endorsee, the agent of the endorser, or C, vests the title in the endorsee in trust for or to the use of some other persons. But the mere absence of words implying power to negotiate does not make an endorsement restrictive. So we will discuss each one of these types of restrictive endorsement shortly. Okay, the first type of restrictive endorsement is where it prohibits the further negotiation of the instrument. In other words, hanggang doon na lang, wala nang further endorsement. So, ito yung samples ng restrictive endorsement. Pay to X only. Okay, si X yung last endorsee. Ibig sabihin, siya na lang ang pwedeng bayaran, wala nang iba. Or pay to X and no other person. Or for payees account only, or for deposit only. So it restricts endorsement as endorsee cannot negotiate the bill any further. So ito ang example ng restrictive paragraph A. The second type of restrictive endorsement is where it constitutes the endorsee the agent of the endorser. Examples: pay to X for my use or for collection. So, parang naging ahente lang, naging agent lang ni Indorser si Indorsee para mangolekta. It constitutes the endorsee as agent of the endorser, also known as collection endorsement. The third type of restrictive endorsement is where it vests the title in the endorsee in trust for or to the use of some other persons. Example, pay to X for the account of Y. It vests title in the endorsee in trust for or to the use of some other person. This is also known as trust or agency endorsement. So, doon sa paragraph B, the endorser there is the agent of the endorser. Dito naman, the endorsee is acting for and in behalf of another person, not necessarily the endorser. So, this is agency endorsement. The third type of restrictive endorsement. Section 37, Effect of Restrictive Endorsement, Rights of Indorsee. A restrictive endorsement confers upon the endorser the following rights. A. To receive payment for the instrument. B. To bring any action thereon that the endorser could bring. C. To transfer rights as such endorsee, where the form of the endorsement authorizes him to do so. But all subsequent endorsees acquire only the title of the first endorsee under the restrictive endorsement. So these are the rights of the endorsee in a restrictive endorsement: to receive payment of the instrument, of course, kasi for collection, isa yun sa mga duty niya. To bring any action thereon that the endorser could bring. Halimbawa, dishonored yung instrument, dishonored by non-acceptance or dishonored by non-payment, or kaya naman sa promissory note, it was dishonored by the maker, then he can do all the things that the endorser could have done under the circumstances. Pwede siya mag-issue ng notice of dishonor, he can go to court and charge the person secondarily liable. Letter C, pwede rin niya namang ilipat yung kanyang duty as restrictive endorsee sa ibang tao if the tenor of the authorization allows such transfer of rights as an restrictive endorsee. Kaya lang, sabi dito sa last sentence, but all subsequent endorsees acquire only the title of the first endorsee under the restrictive endorsement. So, liable siya dun sa mga subsequent endorsees in the event na ilipat niya ang kanyang duty as a restrictive endorsee. Section 38, Qualified Endorsement. A qualified endorsement constitutes the endorser a mere assignor of the title to the instrument. It may be made by adding to the endorser's signature the words "without recourse" or any words of similar import. Such an endorsement does not impair the negotiable character of the instrument. Examples of without recourse endorsements are the following: pay to X or order 5,000 without recourse to me, or at endorser's own risk, or sans recourse. Sans recourse, the word sans is a French word for without. So, pag sinabing sans recourse, it means without recourse. Or endorser, not holding, or with the intent to transfer title only, not to incur liability as endorser. So, these are samples of without recourse endorsement, qualified endorsement, also known as sans recourse endorsement. Anong ibig sabihin ng sans recourse? An endorser can limit his liability on the instrument by making a qualified endorsement, in which case the endorser has no contract liability to subsequent holders if the party primarily liable on the instrument defaults. So, for example, A issues or endorses the instrument in favor of B. Then B presents the instrument to the maker for payment, but the maker dishonors. Pwede niya bang singilin si A? Sans recourse endorsement yun, or without recourse endorsement? No, because sinabi niya ng sans recourse. He cannot be held liable on the instrument. He is discharged from liability on the instrument. So, sans recourse relieves the endorser of liability as a party to the bill or note. The purpose of an endorsement without recourse is to transfer the title of an instrument without creating any personal liability on the part of the endorser. An endorsement without recourse, in the absence of fraud, releases the endorser from liability. So, pag sinabing sans recourse endorsement, ibig sabihin yung endorsee niya in the event of dishonor by the party primarily liable, the sans recourse endorser cannot be held liable on the instrument kasi sinabi niya na sans recourse. So, it is at the endorsee's own risk. Section 39, Conditional Indorsement. Where an endorsement is conditional, the party required to pay the instrument may disregard the condition and make payment to the endorsee or his transferee whether the condition has been fulfilled or not. But any person to whom an instrument so endorsed is negotiated will hold the same or the proceeds thereof, subject to the rights of the person endorsing conditionally. So to explain this, I wrote some illustrations below. So here there is a promissory note which says, I promise to pay to the order of P 5,000 on December 30, 2020. P is the payee, and B decides to endorse it in favor of A in this way. Pay to A if he passes the bar examinations given this year. This is a conditional endorsement because there is a condition for A to be able to collect on the instrument that he must pass the bar exam. Kaya lang, pagdating ng December 30, 2020, si A holder, pumunta na kay maker para maningil. Due na yung instrument eh. The problem is, on December 30, 2020, hindi pa lumalabas yung results ng bar exam. So, hindi pa na-fulfill yung condition ng endorsement from P to A. So, anong gagawin ni M? Due ng instrument, pero hindi pa natutupad yung condition. So, sabi dito sa Section 39, the party required to pay the instrument may disregard the condition and make payment to the endorser or his transferee whether the condition has been fulfilled or not. So, M is not bound by that condition kasi yung condition na yun, that is personal or that is exclusive between P and A. Si P lang naman ang i-impose noon kay A. So, walang kinalaman si M sa condition na yun. So, M can disregard. Huwag niyang pansinin yun. Due na yung instrument. December 30, 2020 na. Duty niya na nabayaran. So, pagdating ni A sa kanya, binayaran niya. Kaya lang si A may duty na hawakan niya muna. Nakalagay dito. But any person to whom an instrument so endorsed is negotiated will hold the same or the proceeds thereof. So, habang halimbawa, December 30, 2020, binayaran na siya ni M kasi due na yung instrument. Binigyan niya siya ng 5,000. Anong gagawin ni A dun sa pera? Hawakan niya lang. He should hold it in the meantime na hindi pa nagaganap yung condition. So, halimbawa, pagdating ng March, lumabas yung resulta, hindi siya pumasa. Anong gagawin niya sa pera? Ibalik niya kay P. Kasi yung endorsement ni P, ay may condition, ay hindi natupad, ibalik niya kay P yung pera dahil hindi siya pumasa, hindi natupad yung condition. Pero pag labas ng resulta, halimbawa, pumasa siya, then kanya na. Absolute na ang kanyang ownership ng pera. So, paano yun? If the endorsement is conditional, the party required to pay, the party primarily liable, si maker, may disregard the condition and make payment immediately kasi due na yung instrument. Dahil wala siyang kinalaman doon sa condition na inimpose ni P kay A. Pero halimbawa, si A nakasingil noong December 30, 2020, huwag niya munang gastusin kasi hindi pa kanya ang perang yun. Hintayin niya ang paglabas ng resulta ng bar exam. Pag siya ay hindi pumasa, ibig sabihin yung condition hindi natupad. Yung pera ibabalik niya kay P, yung endorser. Pero kung paglabas ng bar exam results, pumasa siya, then absolute na ang kanyang ownership. Take note na yung condition dito is contained in the endorsement. Kasi if it is contained in the primary contract, like I promise to pay the order of P if he passes the bar exam, then that will not be negotiable because it will be conditional. That will be violative of section 1. I think it is second paragraph. Conditional siya, hindi siya negotiable. Ang condition dito nakapaloob lang sa endorsement, valid yun. It is called a conditional indorsement. Section 40, endorsement of instrument payable to bearer. Where an instrument payable to bearer is endorsed especially, it may nevertheless be further negotiated by delivery. But the person endorsing specially is liable as endorser to only such holders as make title through his endorsement. So under section 40, ang isang bearer instrument or an instrument originally payable to bearer remains a bearer instrument despite a special endorsement. So dyan nanggaling ang statement na once a bearer, always a bearer. Kahit na siya i-endorse, especially bearer pa rin siya, ibig sabihin, it may be negotiated by mere delivery. Unlike in section 35, sa section 35, it pertains to an instrument that is originally payable to order but is endorsed in blank under section 9, paragraph E, where the endorsement or the only or last endorsement is an endorsement in blank. The instrument is transformed into a bearer instrument until it is again endorsed specially. Pero pagka order instrument, pwedeng maging bearer under 35. Pero ang bearer instrument, hindi pwedeng maging order kahit na mayroong special endorsement. Yan lang sinasabi dito sa section 40. So let us have the distinction between an order instrument. It can be transformed into a bearer if the last or only endorsement is an endorsement in blank. Afterwards, it can be negotiated by mere delivery until it is again endorsed especially. Pero ang bearer, lagi siyang bearer kahit na mayroong special endorsement, pwede siyang laging i-negotiate by way of delivery. Hindi nagbabago ang kanyang character na pagiging bearer. That's why sabi natin, once a bearer, always a bearer. But the one who makes a special endorsement assumes the liability of a general endorser under 65 and 66. Section 41, endorsement were payable to two or more persons. Where an instrument is payable to the order of two or more payees or indorsees who are not partners, all must endorse unless the one endorsing has authority to endorse for the others. So, may example tayo dito. There is a bill of exchange which says, pay to the order of X and Y. So, dalawa ang payees, X and Y. So, how should they endorse? For example, they want to endorse the instrument in favor of A. So, sasabihin nila, pay to the order of A. And then, sa ilalim nun, pipirma si X at pipirma si Y. Pareho silang dapat pumirma. Dahil yan ang sabi sa section 41. Both of them should endorse. Ang exception nun, pwedeng isa lang if one endorsing has authority to endorse for the others. For example, si X, mayroon siyang authority from Y to sign for and in behalf of Y. Authorized siya ni Y. Agent siya ni Y. Therefore, pwedeng si X lang ang pumirma kasi pag pumirma si X, pumipirma siya para sa sarili niya at pumipirma din siya para kay Y kasi may authority siya galing kay Y na pwede siya mag-endorse for and in behalf of Y. That's the first exception where only one of them may endorse. Number 2 exception where the payees are partners. X and Y are partners. So in which case, only one of them may endorse. And an endorsement of one binds the other if they are partners. So ito ang situation pag partners. Pay to the order of X and Y are partners. So either payee may endorse in order to negotiate the instrument. Pwedeng si X lang pumirma, pwedeng si Y lang pumirma kasi one partner can act for and in behalf of the partnership corporation and for and in behalf of the other partners. So we repeat the rule. If there are two or more payees to an instrument, then general rule, both of them should endorse if they want to endorse the instrument to a third person. The first exception where only one may endorse is if one of them has authority to endorse in behalf of the other. May authority siya, parang agent siya ng kasama niya, ng co-payer niya. The other exception is where the payees are partners, in which case, endorsement by one is endorsement of both of them. So, yan ang rule under Section 41. Section 42. Effect of instrument drawn or endorsed to a person as cashier. Where an instrument is drawn or endorsed to a person as cashier or other fiscal officer of a bank or corporation, it is deemed prima facie to be payable to the bank or corporation of which he is such officer and may be negotiated by either the endorsement of the bank or corporation or the endorsement of the officer. So, this section 44, this is an exception to the rule in section 20. Pero start muna tayo sa 18. Sa section 18 kasi, it lays down the general rule that no person is liable on the instrument whose signature does not appear thereon. So, kung wala kang pirma, hindi nakita ang pirma mo sa instrument, you are not liable thereon. That is the general rule. However, ang unang exception dyan ay nasa sections 19 and 20. Ito yung pertaining to the agent who is signing for and in behalf of the principal. Sabi dito, even if the signature of the agent appears on the instrument, if he complies with the following requirements, he is not personally liable on the instrument. What are the requirements? Number 1, he must be authorized by the principal. Number 2, he adds words next to his signature describing him as an agent or as filling a representative capacity. And number 3, he must disclose his principal. If any of those requirements is not complied with, his signature will not bind the principal and he alone will be personally liable on the instrument. Yun ang rule sa section 20. Pero dito sa 42, sinasabi dito na where an instrument is drawn or endorsed to a person as cashier, it is deemed prima facie to be payable to the bank or corporation. So this refers to a case where an instrument is made payable to the cashier or fiscal agent of the bank or corporation. The statute says that prima facie the instrument is to be treated as payable to the bank or the corporation of which he is such officer, and it may be endorsed either by the officer himself or by the bank or corporation. He does not need to comply with the requirements under Section 20 to avoid personal liability on the instrument in view of this presumption. So, itong Section 42, exception ito dun sa rule sa 20 na kailangan para ma-exempt ni agent yung kanyang sarili from personal liability on the instrument. Dapat i-comply niya yung requirements like he has to be authorized and he has to indicate by words that he is simply acting as an agent, and very important, he must disclose his principal. Pero dito sa 42, pagka ang isang instrument, negotiable instrument, ay endorsed or drawn, ibig sabihin ng drawn siya na kagad ang payee, Ibig sabihin ng endorsed, iba yung payee, in-endorse sa kanya, at ang Indorsee ay cashier. Like dito sa baba, nakalagay, pay to the order of cashier of ABC Corporation. Ibig sabihin, hindi yun personally sa kanya. It is deemed prima facie to be payable to the bank or corporation. And it may be endorsed either by the officer himself or by the corporation. So, yun ang Section 42. It is an exception to the rules in 19 and 20. And 44 also, pero hindi pa natin nakukuha ang 44. So, suffice it to say na this is an exception to the rules in 19 and 20. Section 43, endorsement where name is misspelled and so forth. Where the name of a payer or endorser is wrongly designated or misspelled, he may endorse the instrument as therein described, adding, if he thinks fit, his proper signature. So let's go back to Section 18 that lays down the general rule. Sabi sa 18, no person is liable on the instrument whose signature does not appear thereon. Meaning, pag wala kang pirma sa isang instrument, general rule, you are not liable on that instrument. Kaya lang may mga exceptions, one of which is also under Section 18 where a person signs in his trade or assumed name. Ano yung assumed name? Well, kasama na dito yung mga screen name ng mga artist, ng mga celebrity. Hindi naman yan ang totoo nilang pangalan. Okay? So, pwede ba silang maging payee or endorsee of negotiable instruments? Under 43, yes. They can be payee or endorsee under the wrong name. So, if a person is allowed to sign in his assumed name, he must be allowed to sign in his wrong name or in his name that is misspelled. Diba? So, dito sa baba, I cite some situations or examples of wrong name. Halimbawa, itong unang example, Georgina Castro. Ang correct spelling is G-E-O-R-G-I-N-A, Georgina. Pero may inisyu sa kanyang cheque bilang payee or bilang endorsee na siya ay Georgina as in J-O-R-G-I-N-A. So, paano niya i-endorse yun? Ang correct niya ay G-E-O-R, pero yung cheque na inisyu sa kanya na siya ang payee or kaya siya yung endorsee ay J-O-R-G-I-N-A. Wrongly spelled ang pangalan niya doon sa cheque. So, ano yung rule? Paano niya i-endorse yun? Sabi sa 43, he can or she can endorse it under the wrong name, under the correct name, or under both. Oo, very liberal ang rule dito. So, dito naman sa pangalawang situation, paano yung a woman who receives, for example, a check or a promissory note under her maiden name. Like, ito example natin, pay to the order of Maria Reyes. Kaya lang, pagkatanggap niya ng promissory note or bill of exchange, nag-asawa na siya. So, ang pangalan niya na hindi na Maria Reyes, kundi Maria Reyes Cruz. Kasi ang married name niya ay Cruz. So, paano siya mag-i-endorse noong cheque or noong promissory note under her maiden name? So, sabi dito sa Section 43, she can endorse under her maiden name, Maria Reyes, or under her married name, Maria Reyes Cruz, or under both, Maria Reyes and Maria R. Cruz, Maria Reyes Cruz. So, very liberal ang rule dito. Section 44, endorsement in representative capacity. Where any person is under obligation to endorse in a representative capacity, he may endorse in such terms as to negative personal liability. So, Section 44 is consistent with Sections 19 and 20, especially 20, which lays down the requirements for the agent in order to be not liable on the instrument. Kasi sa 18, sabi sa 18, no person is liable on the instrument whose signature does not appear thereon. And conversely, if your name appears, you are liable on the instrument. However, an agent is one who acts for and in behalf of the principal, therefore his name appears on the instrument, but in order to negative personal liability, the agent first must be authorized by the principal. Number 2, he must use such words as to indicate that he is only an agent. Number 3, he must disclose his principal. Itong section 44, consistent ito sa 19 at 20. So, ito naglagay ako ng examples. Ito si Juan de la Cruz acting as an agent of Carlos Sanchez. So, nakalagay, for example, he is the endorser, paid to pay or order 5,000. Itong si Juan de la Cruz pumirma, pero inilagay niya na agent of Carlos Sanchez. Therefore, kahit na nakapirma si Juan de la Cruz, his signature appears. He is not liable because he discloses the principal and he uses such words as to indicate that he is only an agent. Nakalagay dito as agent of Carlos Sanchez. So, dito naman sa pangalawa, the person, Juan de la Cruz, is acting for and in behalf of the corporation, International Transport Corporation. So, nakalagay pay to pay or order 5,000. And then, inilagay niya yung principal, International Transport Corporation, and he signs below, pero nakalagay president. So, complied yung requirements ng 20 that they are authorized. Number 2, they use words to indicate they are acting as agents. Ito nakalagay as agent. Dito naman nakalagay president of the corporation. And number 3, they disclose their principal. Dito sa example ni Juan de la Cruz as agent, he discloses his principal, Carlos Sanchez. Dito naman sa Juan de la Cruz as president, he discloses the principal, the International Transport Corporation. If they do not do that, they will be personally liable on the instrument. The general rule will apply under 18 that if your name appears, you are liable. So, but relate this to, of course, relate this to 19 and 20. Section 45, time of endorsement presumption, except where an endorsement bears date after the majority of the instrument, every negotiation is deemed prima facie to have been effected before the instrument was overdue. So, that is one of the presumptions of the law. For example, there is a promissory note. It says, I promise to pay to the order of P 10,000 on or before May 8, 2020. But there is one endorsement. The last endorsement bears the date May 9, 2020. Kung wala yung date na yun, the presumption is all the endorsements or all the negotiations were effected before the instrument was overdue. Kaya lang because of this dated endorsement, the date of which is May 9, 2020, then the presumption does not apply because there is a date indicating that this particular endorsement or negotiation was made after the maturity date, therefore, when the instrument was already overdue. Now, why is this important? This is important in deciding whether the holder is a holder in due course, because if the holder is a holder after the maturity of the instrument, he is no longer a holder in due course. So, in the book that I'm preparing, I enumerate there the presumptions of the law, and this is one of them, the presumption as to the time of endorsement. So remember, bakit mahalaga yung time? Kasi under 52, the holder in due course, when you become a holder after the instrument is overdue, then you are no longer a holder in due course. Section 46, place of endorsement presumption. Except where the contrary appears, every endorsement is presumed prima facie to have been made at the place where the instrument is dated. For example, we have a promissory note. Nakalagay sa taas, Pasay City, May 8, 2020. I promise to pay to the order of P 10,000. Now, all the endorsements below are presumed to have been effected in Pasay City, except where there is an endorsement indicating a place outside of Pasay City. Halimbawa, isa sa mga endorsements ay nakalagay San Pedro, Laguna, in which case the presumption does not apply. Why is the place important? This is important because in case of dishonor of the instrument, it decides the venue of the action. So, kung ang endorsement San Pedro, Laguna, then the action should be in San Pedro, Laguna in the event of dishonor of the instrument. So, this is another presumption of the law. Section 47, continuation of negotiable character. An instrument negotiable in its origin continues to be negotiable until it has been restrictively endorsed or discharged by payment or otherwise. So, this is self-explanatory. General rule, an instrument continues to be negotiable except, number 1, if it is or if it has been restrictively endorsed, then hindi na siya negotiable. Number 2, if it has been discharged by payment or otherwise. There are several ways to discharge an instrument, which we will study later on. Section 48, striking out endorsement. The holder may at any time strike out any endorsement which is not necessary to his title. The endorser whose endorsement is struck out and all endorsers subsequent to him are thereby relieved from liability on the instrument. So here I made some illustrations. Striking out endorsement happens where a holder takes the instrument twice. So, tingnan natin itong illustration ko. First, itong MC maker. He issues an instrument payable to P, payee. Then P endorses the instrument to A. A is the first Indorsee. Nakalagay dito sa ilalim first. Then A endorses it further to B. B endorses it to C. C endorses to D. And D endorses back to A. So, nakikita natin, si A dalawang beses naging may-ari ng instrument. The first time when it was endorsed to him by P. The second time was when it was endorsed to him by D. So, mayroong tatlong endorsers na nasa gitna nung siya ay unang maging owner ng instrument at nung pangalawang beses na maging owner siya ng instrument. So, ano yung striking out endorsement? Ang ibig lang sabihin nun, he may strike out the endorsers between the first time that he held the instrument and the second time that he held the instrument. So, A, the present holder, may strike out the intervening endorsers, that is B, C, and D. Tanggalin niya yan, erasing niya yan, because they are not necessary to his title. Kasi bumalik siya sa position niya noong first time na maging may-ari siya ng instrument. Dito sa, nung i-endorse yung instrument sa kanya ni P, bumalik siya dito sa situation na to. So, anong gagawin niya dito? Pwede na niya mag-i-endorse sa ibang tao. Pwede niyang ma-erase si B, C, and D. Yan ang striking out. In-strike out niya si B, C, and D kasi hindi niya kailangan to para sa title niya. Pwede siyang bumalik sa una niyang situation. Dito sa the first time na hinawakan niya yung instrument, naging may-ari siya ng instrument, bumalik siya sa ganitong situation. So, pwede niya na naman yun na i-endorse sa ibang tao basta lang hindi pa due ang instrument. The endorsers whose names are struck out are thus relieved from liability on the instrument. Itong si B, C, and D, na-erase sila. Wala na silang liability on the instrument. Ito yung striking out under Section 48. Section 49, transfer without endorsement, effect of. Where the holder of an instrument payable to his order transfer it for value without endorsing it, the transfer vests in the transferee such title as the transferor had therein, and the transferee acquires in addition the right to have the endorsement of the transferor. But for the purpose of determining whether the transferee is a holder in due course, the negotiation takes effect as of the time when the endorsement is actually made. As a general rule, an instrument payable to order is negotiated by way of endorsement and completed by delivery. But this section contemplates a situation where an instrument payable to order is delivered for value without endorsement. In such case, the transfer operates only as an assignment and the transferee as an assignee. Ano ang effect kung yung transferee assignee lang kasi hindi siya in-endorse ng holder? The effect is that the assignee takes the instrument subject to personal defenses or equities in favor of the maker and other parties bound by the instrument. So, ano ang karapatan niya? Sabi ng first sentence, the transferee of such instrument is given the right to have the endorsement of the transferor. He can compel the transferor to make the proper endorsement para sa kanya. Kasi this is a situation na the instrument is a payable to order, therefore it has to be endorsed. Kaya lang hindi in-endorse sa kanya, binigay lang as if it was a bearer instrument, walang endorsement. So the law says he is only an assignee. Pag assignee ka lang, you take the instrument subject to personal defenses or equities that are available to the maker and other parties bound by the instrument. So you have the right to have the endorsement from the transferor. Kaya lang, paano kung ayaw ni transferor na i-endorse? Mabuti sana kung si transferor nakalimutan lang. By inadvertence, ibinigay niya sa'yo yung instrument payable to order without an endorsement. Hindi niya napansin na hindi pala siya pumirma. So, madali lang yun. Ibalik mo lang sa kanya, sabihin mo, pirmahan mo, i-endorse mo para naman maging holder in due course ako. Kaya lang, paano kung ayaw niya talagang pirmahan? Sadya niyang ibinigay na walang pirma yung instrument payable to order. So, the law is silent. Walang sinabi yung batas kung anong remedyo niya. Sinabi lang na ang remedyo niya, papirmahan niya. Kaya lang, paano kung ayaw? Silent ang batas. Therefore, mananatili siyang assignee ng instrument. Hindi siya holder, kundi assignee lang. Section 50, when prior party may negotiate instrument. Where an instrument is negotiated back to a prior party, such party may, subject to the provisions of this act, reissue and further negotiate the same, but he is not entitled to enforce payment thereof against any intervening party to whom he was personally liable. So, itong Section 50, karugtong ito ng Section 48, yung striking out, inilagay ko rin dito yung Section 48. Sabi ng Section 48, the holder may at any time strike out any endorsement which is not necessary to his title. The endorser whose instrument is struck out and all endorsers subsequent to him are thereby relieved from liability on the instrument. Kasi ang scenario dito sa 50 saka 48 ay pareho. Ito ang illustration natin sa baba. The maker issues a promissory note to the order of P. And P endorses the note to A. And A endorses it to B, B to C, C to D, and back to A. So nakita natin si A ay dalawang beses niyang hinawakan yung instrument. Una, nung i-endorse sa kanya ni P. Pangalawa, nung i-endorse sa kanya ni D. Under Section 48, pwede niyang i-strike out. Kaya ang tawag sa 48, striking out. I-strike out yung endorsement ni B, C, and D. At babalik siya sa sitwasyon niya noong first time na hawakan niya ang instrument when it was endorsed to him by P. So, ano na ang gagawin niya dito? Pwede niyang i-endorse na naman sa iba, basta lang hindi pa overdue ang instrument. Pwede niyang i-endorse kay X, Y, Z, etc. Bumalik siya sa dati niyang sitwasyon. Parang kakalimutan niya na lang itong mga sumunod na pangyayari, yung mga sunod na endorsement. Strike out ito . The thing is, under 48, it is not mandatory to strike out. Take note of the word, the holder may. Ito, the holder may at any time. Therefore, si A dito, may choice whether to strike out or not. Kung payag siyang mag-strike out, ibig sabihin, i-strike out niya si B, C, and D, balik siya sa position na nung una siyang naging holder ng instrument, at pwede niyang i-endorse uli sa ibang third persons. Basta lang hindi po overdue ang instrument. Dito sa 50, ang presumption dito, hindi siya nag-strike out sa 50. Hinayaan niya na nandoon si B, C, and D. Hindi siya nag-strike out. So, dito sa 50, ang sabi, where an instrument is negotiated back. Kaya ang tawag natin dito ay negotiation back. Dahil ang isang holder dito ay naging holder twice, negotiated back to him. Where an instrument is negotiated back to a party, prior party, such party may, subject to the provisions, reissue and further negotiate the same. O, yun ang effect ng sa 48. Kung ayaw niyang strike out, or halimbawa, nag-strike out siya, yun ang mangyayari, he can reissue it. Kaya lang, kung hindi siya nag-strike out, sinasabi dito, he is not entitled to enforce payment thereof against any intervening party to whom he was personally liable. Bakit? Dito siya sa last, siya yung holder, the second time that he holds the instrument. Kung maniningil siya kay D, si D maniningil kay C, si C maniningil kay B, then si B maniningil sa kanya. Yun ang dahilan bakit sa 48, pinap-strike out niya. I-strike out mo na lang kasi it's pointless na maniningil ka sa mga prior endorsers na sila naman ay maniningil sa'yo. Kasi prior endorser siya. Oo. Nauna siya kay C, kay D, C, and B. So, pag siningil niya si D, sisingilin ni D si C, sisingilin ni si B, and then si B, sisingilin siya. Yun ang dahilan kung bakit pinapa-strike out na lang para wala ng complication. Pero pag hindi siya nag-strike out under 50, he does, kasi striking out is only discretionary on his part. Ang word dito ay the holder may at any time strike out. Hindi sinabing shall. Sinabi lang may. Kung gusto niya, strike out niya. Paano kung hindi siya nag-strike out? Kung hindi siya nag-strike out, okay lang. Kaya lang, dito sa last sentence, sabi, he is not entitled to enforce payment thereof against any intervening party. Hindi niya dapat singilin si D, si C, si B. Kasi pag siningil niya mga ito, dadating ang punto na sisingilin din siya. Dahil prior party siya. Therefore, to avoid circuity of action, hindi siya pinapayagan na maningil doon sa intervening endorsers. That's why, sabi sa striking out, strike out mo na lang. Para talagang hindi na sila parties to the instrument. Pero kung ayaw mong strike out kasi may choice ka naman to strike out or not to strike out, okay lang, pwede kang mag-endorse. You can endorse further. Pero, you are not allowed to enforce payment against the intervening parties, D, C, and B. Dahil, pag siningil niya tong si D, C, and B, dadating ang punto na sisingilin din siya ni B. So, anong sense noon? Siningil niya tapos sisingilin din siya. That's why may striking out at mayroong prohibition dito sa 50 that he is not entitled to enforce payment against intervening parties. So, itong 50 saka 48, related ito eh. Kasi pag hindi ka nag-strike out, ang effect ay itong section 50, you are prohibited from collecting from prior parties because these parties, you are also liable to these parties as a prior endorser.